Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Rafael Nadal has just won Roland Garros. Let's give it up to him. Just no, cause Pete, there's a method to my madness. So last few episodes I was tired because work sucks and life sucks. But you know what? It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. We're good. I'm good. Pete's good. Shut up, Pete. Don't worry about it. And today we have someone else who is doing great. His name is
Ethan Kolsky. What's up? How we doing?
I'm doing great, man. Welcome to the Stay Positive podcast, as well as everyone and everything in between. We got some stuff to talk about today, don't we, Pete?
Yep. All right, so just throw a little bit at us about yourself, EK. Just a quick little intro. EK is one of my teammates. We play on the same tennis team at BU, and needless to say, he's got a winning record against me, probably. And yeah, he's a sports fanatic. He's a degenerate gambler, almost as bad as Michael Jordan.
Quick intro. My name's Ethan Kolsky. I'm a senior at BU on the tennis team from Southern California, Long Beach area. Any listeners from SoCal, Long Beach, California. I've known Pete now probably longer than anyone I've known at BU, just because we were on our official visit together when we were both seniors in high school. We met at we played I think it was BC. It was like BC match we met. And yeah, I can't believe how many years? 4 years ago? 5
Literally
years?
4 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
Time flies.
known Pete for longer than anyone else in college, and yeah, we're on the same team together. Sucks for both of us because we
The long-term friends, good friendship.
yeah.
You're also a
of course.
compulsive gambler?
No, I don't know about that.
That's
No,
just
it's
Pete.
a joke. It's a joke.
But
That's just Pete.
no, I do a little bit of sports betting. I actually got into it probably 2 years ago now. I got into it, but really started betting last year and following the trends just because of my buddies I was living with last year. I was living with three guys older than me. All were former lacrosse players and pretty stereotypical of those guys, especially at BU. They're the betting type. So they got me hooked on it, and I've always loved sports. So I mean, it was hard for me not to get hooked on it just like those guys did. And when they kind of introduced me to betting on football last year in the fall, it was just the funnest thing in the world for me. I would love waking up on Sundays, where I used to hate waking up on Sundays because it was the last day of the weekend, and you knew you had a long week ahead of you. But now it's it's so fun just because there's so much action packed, and it's probably one of the best days for sports. It's God's day. It's Sunday.
God's day, man. You gotta love that.
Yeah, he obviously designed it to be that way.
Yeah.
Every Sunday.
Yeah.
Football Sundays.
Especially-
What was Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you remember your first bet ever?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, was it a hit or miss?
No, I missed. My first bet was my sophomore year, 2 years ago. That I wasn't into betting, but the first bet I ever played was a $15 bet. I bet on Kansas City against New England in the divisional championship. When New England ended up going to the Super Bowl and winning that year, and I took Kansas City, who I thought was really good at the time, and they were, but they lost. But dude, that was the first bet. And what's funny is normally when people start betting, everyone's first bet typically hits, dude, because I don't know, it's a beginner's luck type of thing, and they always want to hook you in. They want to reel you in by giving you that first bet. I don't know, just historically, people you talk about their first bet, people normally, I think, win their first bet, because if you lose your first bet, you probably don't. You're people typically win their first bet. I was on the other end of that spectrum. I missed big on the first bet, but it was only $15. But I also just, I don't know. I believe in sports betting just as an industry in general, and it's grown so much over the past. Dude, think
it's blown up.
Yeah, totally. I mean, even when I started betting, the bet I just talked about, they didn't have half of these companies and sports books that are out now, DraftKings, FanDuel Sports, and like even Barstool just came out with their own sports book. That's why they got guys over in Philadelphia right now, because they opened up a sports book there. And like just the industry has literally grown so much because like it's also advancing with technology, and like kids are literally able to bet like right from their phone, and like I don't know, and on top of it, the people that are betting, the people that are gambling are like typically like addictive personalities. So like you got guys that don't plan on leaving this for like a long time, dude. I don't know. And especially like with the college age kids, dude, it's huge. Gambling is huge. Like, and I promise it's going to continue to grow like over the next X amount of years and only get exponentially bigger when it starts becoming legalized in more and more states.
Where do you think it'll go from here? Where do you see the ceiling?
I have no idea. I don't know. Like, to be honest,
because I don't bet, so I don't know much about it. I feel like the ceiling could be really high though. It's such a simple idea. You see a team you think there's gonna win, you throw some money down. That's it. Very simple.
It's probably the evolution of gambling is just probably just gonna get more and more mainstream and more accepted. That's probably because that's how it's been progressing. Before it was mainly frowned upon and it was illegal way back when, except for maybe like horse racing or poker. But as time progressed, people just realized, all right, let's just make it legal, and slowly but surely I think it'll just be more and more accepted. One of my dad's acquaintances, let's say that, he owns a tennis tournament, and he said like recently, like a year or two ago, that the amount of money they make, the largest percentage doesn't come from like the food or concessions. It doesn't come from advertising or TV. It doesn't come from selling tickets. It comes from gambling. It comes from sports bets.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, you actually like I think hit it right on the head with where gambling's going and why it's going in the direction that it is, and it's literally just because of what you said. Like, it's just becoming like more accepted and less like, and that like negative stigma around it is like slowly getting like eaten away. So like, yeah, like gambling used to be like this like really frowned upon thing, like you said, like the horses, and like if like no one wanted their husbands going to the races or betting on football or whatever it was, like, and it it was illegal in all these states and like across the country. So like other things, gambling has had this like negative stigma. Now with like social media and just like technology in general, people are starting to see that it's not actually as bad as people think. Like, you could literally just go, like you said, think, oh, I think this team's going to win today. I'm going to go put $20 on them, and it's going to be a lot more fun, and I'm going to be a lot more interested in watching the game. No harm, no foul. Like, that's all it is. And, like, now it's so easy and so accessible, like, that literally right from your phone, you could just click on an app, press a button, and now you have your credit card linked, and you're just spending money gambling, and it's so easy to do, and once the stigma like officially goes away, like I think it'll only just keep growing from there. I don't know. It's
What's your favorite sport to bet on?
Probably football, dude.
Yeah.
Football's like, I don't know. I like. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's fun to bet on all of them, and all for like different reasons. I don't know. It is football for sure. Like, I definitely like betting on football the most, and I think it's just because like football also is like much. Not that football's predictable, but it's much more predictable. Like, dude, like when I bet on basketball. Like, you never know what's gonna. You just never know what's gonna happen. Like, even this year, like, I'll never forget, like, first game of the playoffs, on the East, I took Milwaukee game 1 against like the Magic, and like, dude, like the Magic are so bad, right?
Giannis is golfing in Florida right now, just Walt Disney Resort.
But like a great team like that can win in basketball. So like it's like basketball is tough to bet on. I think baseball is also tough to bet on because like you just never know what can happen with those guys. But like football, like I just feel like it's much more, like I said, not that it's predictable, but it is much more predictable in comparison to the other sports. Like, for example, like, yeah, you got a team like Baltimore going to play Cincinnati this week. Like,
oh yeah,
dude, you're just like way more like the chances of Cincinnati winning are much lower than like a bad team winning in another sport. Like, just because that's how football works.
But what if they do win? Whoever bet on them is pretty happy, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, very happy. That's one way to put it. Like,
What do you think odds are for Cincinnati to win?
they're probably like plus 400 today. Like, and for people that don't know what that means, plus 400 would mean that for every $100 you bet, you would get $400 back.
Yeah, I wanted to
Like
ask you a question. Just I pretty sure I think I know what it's like, but I just wanted to confirm it since you sound like you know a thing or two. If let's just use tennis because I'm more familiar with that. Let's say the chances of Nadal winning today were like 3-1. Does that mean? So that means if I bet $3 on Nadal, I make $1.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
And if I bet on Djokovic, if I bet $1, I make $3.
Exactly.
Okay,
if that's what the odds were for Djokovic. So yeah, today Nadal was like minus 145. Don't quote me on it, but he was like minus 145 or something like around that number. And Djokovic was like plus 117. So Nadal's minus 145, right? It's kind of like what you were saying. It just putting it differently in words is like you have to bet $145 to win 100. That's where the minus comes in. Like minus 145, you have to bet 145 to win 100. On the other side with Djokovic, he was, like I said, plus 118. So for every $100 you bet, you win 118. Is that making sense?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So like plus in gambling, plus means you're like an underdog. So like the term like plus money is always good because if you ever say like a plus, like you know that it's gonna be like positive winnings. Where like if you see like minus, you know that it's a favorite. So it's the winnings like aren't as.
Yeah, I feel that.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. If you're the favorite, you have to bet more and you make less because it's more quote-unquote safe. And if you're the underdog or the one who's less likely to win, you make more than what you bet if you win.
Yeah, dude, you know what you're talking about. Come on, you're right. You know this stuff. That's you explained it better than I did.
Thank you. I wanted to, since football is your favorite to bet, why is football so much more quote-unquote certain? Like, because there's so many players, doesn't that mean they're also like variables for football players or football teams?
Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely more players on the field at once, but at the same time, like less players can make an impact, if that makes sense. Like, so for example, like one thing I always talk about with people in football is like you could literally be the best receiver in football. Like you could be, I don't know if you know anything about football, but like a guy like Julio Jones is probably one of the best receivers in football.
Julio Jones is a sheep, man.
He's dude, he's awesome. So like, but you could have a guy like that literally who's so talented and so good, but make zero impact on the game because the quarterback can't get him the ball. Where like as in like a sport like basketball or something, like even if there's
one player can make a difference in sports like basketball, whereas in football, even if you are great, if everyone else sucks, you suck together.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. And that's like, dude, yeah, maybe you got to be like my translator today, because, like, I can't get words out right. But dude, that's like spot on. At least that's how I think. Maybe other people think differently, but like that's my opinion on it. And like, yeah, dude, look, you can have a guy like Joe Burrow, who's like the #1 draft pick, one of the best college players, like, but since he's on a terrible team, like there's nothing he could really do. Like, and that's kind of why I think like football is what you were saying. Like, yeah, it's more certain and the outcomes I think are more predictable than like a sport like basketball where like almost anything can happen.
If LeBron's having a bad day, it's like, yeah, you might not want to bet on that team.
Exactly. Okay, yeah, just like that. So like, look, if you bet on the Lakers and LeBron has a bad day, your bet's probably going to trash. But if you bet on a team like the Falcons with Julio Jones and Julio Jones has a bad day, it's okay because he's got like 3 other receivers that might do really well.
All right. No offense to everyone else. You're all hardworking athletes, and we all love and appreciate you as well.
Yeah, but no one cares about you, so it's fine.
Shut up, Pete. I care.
Now, I know you're a huge LeBron fan. Like, no, Alex, you don't understand. This guy's the biggest LeBron fan I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, I mean, isn't he wearing an LA shirt on his head?
Yeah.
LA shirt on his
God,
head.
Oh, shut up, Pete. Shut up, Pete. Hat or what is it? Snapback? Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
I hate that name so much. It's just a baseball cap with a flat top instead of the round one. But whatever.
Bro, tell me why you think the Lakers are gonna win.
Oh my God.
Does his name start with LeBron?
Yeah. LeBron. That's why.
God, basically.
Yeah. Well.
Who won it last year?
The Raptors.
Yeah,
it
it wasn't that Canadian team, Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto.
How did Canada beat us? Can you explain this? How does
Beat
Canada?
the Warriors, bro.
Well, the
I'm just kidding. The Canadians, the Toronto Raptors, they always like make the semifinals every year. So it was a bound to happen eventually.
What sports do you like watching? What's your favorite sport to watch?
Tennis.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with every other sport, but like if you ask me to name like football players or basketball players, I'm gonna be stumped. But I know the rules for and like how to play all these other sports. So if you don't worry if you want to talk about something else.
All right. Yeah. No. Who do you like in tennis? Who's your guy?
Roger Federer.
Roger.
So fucking mainstream.
Well, dude, the thing is, like, I was talking about this with Joe the other day. Like, growing up, like, you were either like a Roger or like a Nadal fan. Like, how many how many Djokovic fans are there in comparison to like Nadal and Federer? How many Murray fans are there in comparison to like Nadal and Federer?
I feel
like,
that.
dude, literally, growing up, like, if you played tennis, like, you were either a diehard Roger fan or a diehard Rafa fan, and like that's just like kind of how it works, dude. These guys have literally dominated the sport, and like, dude, like their rivalry. I was talking about this in one of my classes the other day too. Like their rivalry is so special, and like they, as much as like Joe said, like even today, like
For people that don't know, today was the French Open final.
I mean, I started with the intro, Pete. I started with the intro, Pete. They already know this.
Word.
But like, look, if Nadal would never have played, Roger might have 40 slams, and vice versa.
So
if Roger never played, Nadal could very well have 40 slams. But like the fact that they were in the same era together playing against each other made their careers so much cooler because the competition was so much greater, and like also just shows like that this level of tennis has never been played before.
Dude, I know. It's crazy to think about, actually. Like, we're never going to get players. We talk about this all the time. We're never going to have players of this level again, Alex.
Pete,
you know that's true.
Pete, wait for me to join the scenes.
Shut up.
Pete,
shut up.
Pete, if I ever win a Grand Slam, I'm going to replay this episode, and I'm going to be like, Pete, what did you say to me? And you're just going to laugh in shame, Pete. That's what's going to happen.
Man. Pipe dream. No, but seriously, when are we gonna see people winning 20 Grand Slams?
Never.
Ever again?
No. Never. You'll not, dude. You not even close. Like, at least not in my lifetime. I don't think.
No chance.
I don't know how you could have it. Dude. But then again, like, no, I agree. Yeah, you'll never see guys as talented as Roger and Rafa like this. Not in my lifetime for sure. But dude, then again, like watching Sinner play the other day was sick, dude. That was really cool, man. And the kid's 19 years old.
That dude is cold.
Legit, dude.
You like him a lot, Alex,
I do.
right?
I think he is going to be the next number one. Not within the next 3 years, he'll be number one.
What?
3 years?
Yeah.
3 years?
I mean, because here's the thing, he's finally won his first Grand Slam. Tsitsipas reached the semifinals and almost beat Djokovic. Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic are getting older and older. So, like, the young guys are going to, despite my dismay, they will have their moments to shine, and they won't just give it up just because Sinner showed up. But if Sinner puts himself together within the next 3 years, he's better than all of them because he's tall, he hits through the ball, he hits flat, he's better than everyone from skill. He's just a little clumsy because he's tall and his footwork is not as good as it could be, but, he's still 6'4", like, at 19. So it would be naive of me to be like, oh, he sucks because of that.
He's 6'4".
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, I thought he was like 6 foot tall.
No, he's tall. He's taller than
yeah,
Team.
Is he? He might be. I'm not sure. I knew he was tall. I thought he was like 6'3". Yeah.
He's taller than Nadal, and Nadal is 6'2", so 6'3",
yeah.
6'4".
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
pushed
that makes sense.
Rafa far in that match.
Dude,
man.
it was like
19.
That's what I'm saying. Like, dude, that's really cool though. Like seeing a 19-year-old kid, like it kind of showed. Like, dude, like when we were first playing tennis, like what, like really, like what? How old were we? 6 or something? Like when Nadal was first coming up on the scene,
Yes, bro.
he was
Everyone
like,
would look up to him and be like, "This guy is literally Jesus."
and
Christ.
he was a 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid winning Roland Garros, and now we have a guy who's 19 years old coming in playing.
the greatest player
dude,
of all
and he's
time.
like going 7'6", 6'4", like, you know, keeping it close with the greatest. I think Sinner took more. Sinner, look this up, but Sinner definitely took more games off Nadal than Djokovic did
No,
today.
Sinner was Nadal's hardest opponent. You know, everyone before Sinner was 6'1", 6'0", 6'2". The semifinal with The semifinal with Schwartzman was 6'3", 6'3", 7'6", which was still close but fairly one-sided, and Djokovic was 6'0", 6'2", 7'5".
Yeah.
So Sinner pushed him further than literally everyone else.
And he's 19 years old, dude. That guy's got a high ceiling on him. I don't know how he plays on hard court, but at least on clay, dude, that guy will win. I promise that kid wins Roland Garros titles.
No, within the next 3
promise.
years, he will be number one.
I don't know about
3
the
years?
next 3 years, man. I think Nadal and Djokovic and Federer got 5. I don't know about Fed, but I think Nadal and Djokovic got 3 to 5 left.
Well,
in them.
Nadal is 34 or 35, I forget. So even if I play the optimist and say he's going to keep playing, eventually, as sad as it is to say, they will get tired. And Sinner won't be tired at that moment.
That's so crazy.
Dude, that's very true. It's sad to think about, but yeah, eventually, like, you would think that these guys, if it's not this year, next year, the year after, but like one of these upcoming years, like, will be like their peak, and like from there, you won't see their level going up anymore, just going down. And like guys like Sinner and like Felix and like Shapovalov or whoever, like those guys.
Yeah, but they're good players, but they're not like special. They're not like truly special. I haven't seen anything from them that would at least lead me to believe that they're gonna win a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean,
no one's gonna win a lot. This will be the transition period where we have a bunch of new names and everyone's gonna like do their thing, and there will be many winners. I assume maybe there'll be one guy who shines above the rest, but Team is 27, 28 years old, so
Already.
He's kind of he's not like old, but he is
he 27? No way.
Yeah.
He might be. Dude, that's crazy.
He's not young anymore. He's been doing this for a long time. So even if I make the bold assumption that he's going to dominate, he won't dominate for too long.
Dude, that's crazy. He's 27. Holy shit.
He did it. He won.
That's
He won the US
crazy.
Open.
He only won one Grand Slam. That's what happens when you're playing against Roger, Rafa, Novak.
Dude, this is like the worst. This is the worst time in the history of the world to try and be a professional tennis player. I mean, dude, there's just so many. Like, dude, think about that. Dude, if you just take away Djokovic, Federer, and Nadal, team probably has like 10 plus Grand Slam. Like, dude,
right now,
like a lot, bro. He's 27 years old. He has one Grand Slam, and it's because like Nadal, Federer, Djokovic have dominated the fucking sport since 2000. Like, maybe not 2000, but literally since 2005, 2006. I looked this up too. 2005, 2006. I'm pretty sure every single Grand Slam final has either had Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic in it.
Yeah,
Every
since
single one?
not every single
maybe not
one.
every single one, but dude, very close to every
In
one.
2004, Federer started. So in 2004, it was Gaston Gaudio at the French Open, and then Nadal won 13 French Opens. With the only other ones were Federer in 2009, Wawrinka in 2015, and Djokovic in 2016. The Australian Open was Federer, Safin, Federer, Djokovic, Nadal, Federer, and yeah, it's just basically only them.
It is, dude. I mean, maybe, yeah. I did see some stat. I don't know since what year, but like I did see some stat where like almost every Grand Slam final had like one of those three names in it. And even like if not, like what other sport is there just like
Just
dominance like that? There's not. Like, dude,
nothing.
no one would even want to watch the sports, dude. Think about it. Like, if you would you watch basketball? Well, I mean, like, I guess you can kind of argue LeBron, but like, would you even watch basketball? Hey, dude, he's been to the finals so many. But like, I wouldn't want to watch football. Like,
No, even in that like 4-year period, the Patriots where they were winning everything.
It wasn't, dude.
It wasn't.
You
Fun
knew
to
that they
watch.
were gonna win,
Yeah.
and like that exactly.
That was only
it's not,
4 years too.
right, and it's not as fun to watch.
This has been what? This has been 15 years right now that these three have literally just been winning everything. It's crazy.
It's
Yeah,
good to be the king.
It's dominance. It's definitely dominance that we haven't seen before, and I don't know if we'll see it again. So, one thing I actually would like to talk about, just so I can have this out there publicly. I tell everyone this, but tennis, and I will argue this with anybody, is that tennis is like by long and far the hardest sport to be professional.
God bless you, man. God bless you.
Yeah.
I love you,
Can I
man.
just say?
Yeah.
Can I just say that I really agree with that?
I
At
wanted
least
to ask
in terms
you-
of going pro in the sport.
Tennis is the
No, not even going pro. Just being a good professional tennis player, in my opinion, is harder than every other sport. Because, let's look at it like this. If you are playing on a team sport, you're only one of several other players. And even if you're having a bad day, you can either be subbed out or you'll have 5 or 10 other people to pick up the slack. If you're in a fighting sport, which is very difficult as well, you typically only fight a handful of times in a year because you spend many months training for it. Whereas in tennis, you play like, if you're a winner, you're playing like 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week for like many weeks consecutive almost. So while fighting is hard in its own way, it's the amount of times you actually have the official fight. It's not like you're fighting every single day. You go into a fight, you get beaten up, or you get beaten up, and then you wait another few months to train and recuperate and rinse and repeat. And as far as for all the other tennis wannabe sports like badminton and ping pong,
Tennis wannabe sports.
and beach tennis, all those
pong.
other sports, it's like, yeah, they're like tennis, but tennis is the only one where like all of your senses are put to their absolute peak. Because with ping pong, you're not really running, you're just kind of hopping around, and it requires extremely fast reflexes, but not really endurance when it comes to like running and sprinting, which tennis does. And while the speed is slightly faster, the amount of effort in tennis, I would scientifically believe, is more than that of ping pong or badminton.
Yeah, maybe
Oh,
a
yeah.
little bit. What were you gonna
I
say?
mean, not even close. Yeah, look at if someone can tell, like, go watch the NBA draft coming up. You're gonna have probably the best player in college basketball go and be a millionaire immediately and get drafted and go play for a professional organization and probably be good for life if he knows what he's doing just by getting drafted and being the best in college. What other sport can you tell me that the best player in college isn't going to go make it in pro? Like, just tell me that. Like, because you go watch football, the best player in football is going to get drafted number 1. The best player in basketball is going to get drafted number 1. The best baseball is a little bit different, but still, the best player in college baseball is going to go sign a X $1 million contract for a professional organization. He might not make it. He might go and play in the minors, but he's still going to go make a lot of money just because he was the best in college. And this goes for all these other sports too. Like, I don't know what other ones you want to talk about, but those are. So look, in tennis, the best player in college tennis has a significantly better chance at not making it professional and making zero money than actually going pro and making a living for himself. Just way better odds that the guy doesn't. And you just go look at the numbers, dude. Go look at every single best, quote-unquote, best college tennis player in the past 20 years and let me know what they've done in the sport of tennis. And the answer is nothing. Literally nothing.
It's
because
not nothing. It's just that when they finish college, it takes them like 10 years to actually achieve anything, which kind of defeats. It's like you said, from college itself, they didn't really get anything. They got it from working hard on the tour. but they didn't really like hone their skills or get any support in college itself. Because you look at John Isner. John Isner was a pretty good college player, and Steven Johnson, I believe, also won the NCAA championship.
All right, so you're actually talking to someone that knows him like on a first name basis and everything.
Oh, okay. I believe he won.
Yeah. Talk about him actually, low key. Just about, because he's the greatest college tennis player.
No, he's not the greatest, or maybe the greatest that finished college, because like Michael Chang and John McEnroe went to like college and then quit because they were champions.
Right, so that doesn't make him the greatest college player ever. Stevie's definitely the best college player ever, just like statistically. And like you said, there might have been like great players that like played college tennis that are greater than Stevie. Like absolutely, like Michael Chang, the Bryan brothers are way more accomplished. Arthur Ashe went to college. Like
actually,
the Bryan brothers went to Stanford. Yeah, and McEnroe. Dude, look, there's a bunch of different guys that played college that had much better professional careers than Stevie, but Steve Johnson is the best college player ever. He went 72-0 in his last X amount of matches. So as a junior, from the time he was a junior till the time he was a senior, Steve Johnson didn't lose a match in college, and he was also playing number 1 at the best school in the country who four-peated. So Steve Johnson was playing the best player from every single school that he played every time out and didn't lose 72 times in a row. So it'll never be done again. It won't even come close to being done again. Stevie will always be the best college player ever. With that being said,
he's not the best professional tennis player.
Of course not. He's not even close to the best professional tennis player ever. Stevie's like, dude, first of all, his career is like pretty much done with now. Like he won't go up from here.
He's in the 30s, so he had a decent.
And he's got a kid on the way, and yeah, dude, Stevie's had an awesome career. But look, we're talking about Steve Johnson, John Isner, and Kevin Anderson. Those are like the 3 names that come up when you think of like great college players that have made it pro. But other than that, like, and dude, those guys, like, they made it pro, but they didn't make like a dent in the sports world, like, or in at least like in tennis. And like, so how can you tell me that, like, look at 3 guys in the past 20 years have had like any bit of a successful pro career? How, like, just tell me what other sport that happens with, because it's not a lot. Look at all these number 1 draft picks coming in from basketball. Look at all the number 1 draft picks that come in at football. They all have great careers. They make a bunch of money, and that's that, and it's awesome. But like in tennis, it just doesn't happen. It's the hardest sport to go pro in, and you could literally be like Steve Johnson, who's the best at the highest level, and not make it pro. Like, yeah, he made it. He's never gonna win a Grand Slam.
He got a career high 20 or like 25.
He was like a top 30 guy.
He was top 30. He won a few small tournaments, but like overall, he didn't triumph like the legendary players we think.
Oh, right. No. Yeah, no, he didn't. And yeah, that's kind of my biggest.
Johnny Isner, he's the best player I think to come. Or well, I don't know. Kevin Anderson hasn't really achieved much, but
he reached 2 Grand Slam finals and a top 10 ranking.
Anderson?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Actually,
he did it in his 30s, so
right. Okay. And even if they did, you're right. Kevin Anderson did, and like even that, like with what they did accomplish, we're talking about 3 players.
Yeah.
In the entire in the
history
of 7 billion people, 3 players. What percentage?
30 years.
In the past 40 years, dude. How does that work? Like, just tell me another sport that happens in. It doesn't. It's because there's way more tennis players than football players and basketball players combined. There's 100 times more. It's one of the biggest sports in the world, Like, it's played all over the world. So there's just way more competition. There's way more, like, good players in the sport. Like, the levels of tennis are way greater than any other sport. It's actually like really hard for me to like even like fathom and like put into words how like actually how many different levels of tennis there are. It's like hard for me to like fathom and like I said, put into words, because you literally have a guy like dude, I could literally
I
could,
right,
it's like right. I'm going down like a black hole here, like talking about that right
now.
Speaking
of which,
No, but you're right. Like you step on the court with Rafa, and it's like it's a totally different thing if you step on the court with
Pete.
like Stevie.
Well, yeah, like Pete.
I mean, but it's true.
Okay, and then go put Pete against like just like
any random high school kid,
and it's not even close. dude, the levels of tennis are just way too great, and like no other sport can compete with it, in my opinion. Other people can say whatever they want, but I'll always go down arguing that tennis is by far the hardest sport to make it professional in, and the levels are just way too high. I swear to God, and like I'm just thinking about it because football's on the screen right now. Like you could take legitimate college players that are freshmen. They're gonna go get drafted, and look, you could put like one of the best receivers in college football. You could go put him on an NFL team right now, and he can make an impact on the team.
But tennis isn't a team sport.
Yeah, and that's like a whole nother aspect that you got to take. It's literally like you're out there for yourself. You're not even like so it is so individualized. It's all on you. Like if you win, it's because of it's because of what you did, and if you lose, it's all because of you. At the same time, you're also just out there playing for yourself. Like these other guys are playing for organizations. They're all playing for something greater than themselves. Cities, sure. They're playing for organizations. They're playing for their teammates. Like tennis, they're just playing for themselves. Like that is so hard in itself to think about. Like, you know how lonely and like miserable like practices are? Like, dude, that's legit work. They're going out there training. Nobody's seeing them. There's no cameras on them. They're training out there 6 hours a day or whatever, all by themselves for nothing other than themselves. It's like legit crazy.
You're right. I 100% agree. And if anyone ever gets in an argument with you, I want you to know I will be behind you, backing you up 100%.
Nice. All right, there we go.
Army of two, baby.
Yeah, that's all we need.
It's crazy, actually. I remember, I think your dad told me this, Alex. Like, the biggest example was Team. We talked about him a little bit before.
Yeah.
But this dude, I don't know what he said, but he said something like Team before he went on tour, or maybe like his first couple years on tour. He went and trained like in the mountains for 3 months or something. Like
Team?
Yeah. Dude, he went and like did conditioning like every day. He would just train, like just solitary confinement practically. Like a monk.
So he
almost.
had an Austrian, I don't know if bodybuilder is the right word, some extremely fit Austrian guy. Trainer, like he wasn't like a trainer. No, he was his trainer, but like his job wasn't really trainer. He was just like a really like strong guy and really crazy Austrian guy. And he would like make him do military drills in the mountains and like run laps, and like he would make him get like cut down a tree and then carry it on his back. Not like a full tree, like a log or something, and like carry it.
Oh yeah, it's not a full tree, just 75% of a full tree.
And you know, he's doing that, and he's sprinting up mountains, and he's like running like marathons, like, and he's just doing very crazy stuff with a very crazy guy. And you know, me and my dad were both like, if he's doing that, he should eventually win, and he did.
I mean, it took him years, though.
I mean, he's not talented. That's the thing. He has zero talent at all.
But he's a physical beast, man.
And it paid off.
Yeah. Who's it? Like, I mean, besides, I actually like this topic as well. Besides LeBron, who's like someone you look at that's just a specimen when they're playing? Any sport.
That's a good question.
I mean, LeBron.
Yeah, go ahead, Alex. Sorry.
I mean, LeBron is the thing about LeBron James is he's one of a kind because he's really big and really tall, which isn't unique to basketball players, but what's unique about him is that he can move really quickly, and he's very fast. Good at agility. Not speed. Fast, any tall guy can run decently fast. The problem is the agility for someone that big is incredible, you know? So I don't want to say it was talent, but he definitely worked really hard to make his big body move the way that it does.
Yeah. Of course.
Most big guys don't do that because their job is professional big guy, tall guy. They just stand at the rim and dunk or layup or rebound. But LeBron stands out because he is.
Yeah.
I think another like good example of that is, in my opinion, is like Kevin Durant. Like the guy's borderline 7 foot tall. And he, you know, it's like when Bill Russell was playing, if you were that tall, you were a center and a center only, and you just posted up and got rebounds and putbacks. And, like, now, Kevin Durant's 7 foot tall. He's got great handles, and he's just an absolute sharpshooter. He got a lethal 3, great mid-range. So I think like he's a good example of like someone that's just like a physical specimen. Like he's not like, like it's not like he's like buff and like ripped like LeBron, but like he is 7 foot tall and moves like a guard in ways and shoots like one, that for sure.
Dude, he's talented.
Yeah.
He's probably like one of the, I mean, if I were to say most talented player in the league right now, maybe
He might be one of
maybe
them.
Kyrie. One of them for sure. No, it's true though. Let's be real.
I hate Kyrie.
I know
Has
you
Kyrie
do. That's
gotten
why I
any
also have to
better?
say.
Has Kyrie gotten
I
any
don't
better?
know. I think he's gotten.
He's gotten worse for sure. But he, like, in terms of what he could do around the basket.
Yeah, he's
the dude's got hands.
Great handles for sure. And I was just thinking about it. Another one that I think like you could definitely like, look out for and just like be conscious of is DK Metcalf.
Oh my god.
This guy's like coming up, and like people passed on him in the draft because he has like zero lateral movement, like just zero lateral agility at all. Like he can't move laterally, but he's physically way bigger than anybody that he plays, and he's like now turned into like, a great deep threat, probably one of the best deep threats in the league. And it's because like he physically is just different than everybody else on the field, dude. This guy like is built
Like Shaquille O'Neal? Like
yeah, Shaquille O'Neal is probably Shaq is probably the best example of that ever. Like Shaq was literally just so dominant because of his size. Like dude, they called him the Black Tornado. Like, dude, this
Shaq?
guy, yeah, the Black Tornado,
Wait, actually,
dude.
I don't remember
Yeah,
that
because
at all.
you could never, like, it was, if anytime he was on the rim and he would spin, it was the Black Tornado. It was like unguardable, and people would just get lost in it. But Shaq's like another great example of like just like a physical specimen, and like because of his like genetics, like, oh damn, yeah, because of Shaq's genetics, like. Whoa, that's opening a whole nother can of worms with me, because going back to like the whole like tennis thing, these sports, football, basketball, like literally a big percentage of like being good at the sport has to do with your genetics.
they still
like,
have
how
to
about
work
that?
hard. They still have to work very hard.
Yeah, of course, but like like to be like an offensive lineman, like you can't be an offensive lineman if you're
like 5'6",
5'6", 150 pounds. Like, dude, you need to be like, and if you're not, then you can't be a lineman. So like, look at a lot of the, these like basketball is like.
You're
Dude,
not 6'3", it's just not working out.
Forget about it, dude. Just like don't go play. Like, how many guys have been good under 6 foot? Like, start naming them. You can count it on both hands.
I can name yeah, like 5.
So,
I
like-
remember one, but the thing is, you shouldn't. If you're a short guy and you have dreams of being basketball, you shouldn't
That's
give
true
up.
also.
But you should remember that you are against the odds, and if you want to succeed, you have to put in a lot more work than the others. But I do agree that like genetics does play a part, and obviously you're against the odds. But don't give up.
Yeah, no, don't any aspiring basketball players out there under 6 foot, don't give up, kids. It's gonna be okay.
Don't give up.
Put in
just
the
know
work,
you're
but
against the odds.
You're definitely against the odds, and
Just put in more work, yeah. That's it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's,
Can't teach work ethic.
Excuse me.
But yeah, you look at tennis is a sport where genetics don't play a role. Like you have a guy like Schwartzman who's literally 5 foot.
6.
How tall is he? 5'6",
5'6",
5'6", 5'7",
Argentinian
in the freaking
absolute beast.
semifinals against the best,
Against Rafa, and he pushed him.
and he
very
pushed
far,
him.
farther
And,
than Novak did. In
dude,
the
but
final.
it doesn't like
It's true.
True.
Schwartzman didn't have to be 6 foot. Like it doesn't like tennis isn't like is also like doesn't necessarily have to do with your genetics. You could play with anyone regardless of your height and weight. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy about the sport, honestly. It's all mental. Like, all the barriers you set for yourself in tennis are all in your head, really.
yeah, definitely. It's
one of the few
such
sports
a
where
mental
it's like
sport.
I'm
It's
sure.
such a
80%.
mental sport.
I'm sure the muscle pain I feel every day begs to differ, but
Yeah, my back and my ankle and my wrist. Yeah, those things are.
but in all fairness, well, I do agree tennis pushes everyone the most. But, you know, regardless of what sport you play, whether it's tennis or golf, you know, you have to train really hard. You have to work, you know, nothing. You have to keep a positive attitude. You should never let any negativity or try to minimize it as best you can, and stay focused on your dream and work really hard. There's no secret. That is the secret formula of success. There's nothing else to it. So,
yeah,
dream on.
I like that, Alex. That's. I think that's like really important. And I saw a tweet about that the other day. But like you said, there's just kind of no formula to success, and like people want to see like all this like stuff come overnight and like all these results right away, and like all the, you know, this big audience or whatever you think success is like. But the truth of the matter is there's no overnight successes, and like the only formula, like you said, to being successful, like in anything you do, is hard work. Like you guys have all read like The Outliers or whatever by Malcolm Gladwell, where he talks about the 10,000 hours. Like if you put in 10,000 hours at anything, you could become a master. I think that's so true.
That's
100% true.
That's
like
amazing.
that's what it's gonna come down to, is the hours. Like if you just put in the work, you put in the hours, like the results are gonna come, and that's how like success is built, and it's like earned, and it's, you know, there's no free ride, there's no
no
like
handouts, no freebies.
No, and there's no like magic sauce or something that you could, you know, just turn on, like a flip the switch that makes you successful. Like there's no cheating it, dude. It's all
It's all about the will. It's all about the effort, and if you can find that, then you're well on your way.
Anything.
Yeah.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Very well put, Ethan.
With that being said,
yeah, you know, this was a fun episode. Talk about gambling, talk about sports. I'm glad Pete brought another one of his good friends along. You know, I hope you enjoyed coming on as much as we enjoyed having you.
Yeah, last thing I'll say is, AEK kind of said it before. You're a kid, and the odds are stacked against you. Don't stop trying. Don't stop working. Just keep doing it. Keep doing what you love. Keep chasing that dream, chasing that goal. And
lastly, before the other last part, when it comes to gambling, please be responsible. Please be safe. Do not, addiction is real.
Yankees, guys.
What'd you say?
Yeah, I was seconding your point. Gamble responsibly.
Oh my God.
Thank you. So yeah, be safe, be responsible. Gambling addiction is real. You know, we don't want any cases on our hands. So, you know, take care of yourselves. And
with all that being said, also, I know that EK, I mean, that's what we call him, EK for short. He's working on his own stuff. Let us know where we can find you, bro.
Yeah, so if you guys are into sports or sports betting or comedy in general, I'm doing a podcast with my buddies. It's called the Players' Choice Podcast. You can check us out on Instagram, at the Players' Choice Pod, or you can give me at EK Sportsburger a follow on Instagram or Twitter, or Pedro Gutierrez on Instagram. Basically, we're running a podcast just talking about sports betting. It's just a couple of guys going on every week, shooting the shit, talking about sports and having some fun. So if you guys want to tune into that, at the Players' Choice Pod, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your cup of tea.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Now we got some competition. All right. Everyone, give him some love. Players' Choice Pod, Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. You know where to find them. And with that, Ethan, as we always do, please tell everyone to
stay positive.
Yeah, that's right.
I love it.
Bang, baby.
I love it.
See you guys later.
Thanks, guys. That was fun.
Later, folks.
Bye-bye.